Hey YouTube, I'll be showing you how I removed the bed off of my 1993 Ford Ranger. I bought this truck for $1,000. It had a rotted spring leaf hanger. Otherwise the truck was in good shape and I thought it to be a good buy. It had surface rust on the frame. After I removed the bed, I cleaned up the frame and changed some suspension parts and the fuel filler hose because it's just easier to do when the bed is off the frame. I've been using this truck now for about a year and it hasn't given me any mechanical issues. To remove the factory Ford bed liner, I removed the clips on the bed liner with a regular Phillips screwdriver, and then you can move the sides of the bed liner off of the bed. There's a clip in the front of the bed. To remove it, I lifted the back of the bed liner with a bucket and used a long bar to unhook the clip from the bed. Here you can see that I wedged a chisel to unhook the clip. I did this to both sides. And the liner came right off. I swept the bed and I noticed that the previous owner put silicone dots to protect the bed liner from scratching up the bare metal of the truck. So luckily the previous owner looks like he did his best to protect the truck. Then I sprayed WD-40 on all 6 bolts that hold the bed in place. These are the bolts that you'll need to remove in order to lift the bed up. The bolts holding the truck are a Torx T55, but before removing the bolts, I recommend putting some eye protection on and getting underneath to spray the bolts with WD-40 and clean up the threads from underneath the truck. I used a wire brush to clean the threads. This helps a lot with having the bolts come out easier and not snapping them. Also, before using the T55 on the bolt itself, I cleaned up the head with a wire brush, and this is just better so that the tool can sit and not strip the head of the bolt. Just lets it sit better. I used a cheap Torx set from Harbor Freight and a breaker bar. And I didn't show it here in the video, but before I started turning it with the breaker bar, I also hit it with a hammer. I hit it pretty hard just because I want to make sure to kind of shock the bolt and break it loose before you start turning it. Once it's loose, I finished up with a ratchet. Then I left this clip long on purpose just to show you how much reapplication of WD-40 and patience it takes. If you kind of just want to rush through this, that's how you end up snapping bolts sometimes. I cleaned all the bolts up before attempting to turn them by going underneath, like I said. This particular bolt I remember cleaning up twice because it was giving me a bad feeling that it kind of wanted to snap. Luckily it did not snap and it came out without breaking. Also underneath the truck, you have to disconnect the wiring harness for the taillights. I just used a flat screwdriver to unhook this clip. And next you got to go to the gas cap, remove the gas cap, and you see 3 little bolts that need to be removed, and this will disconnect your fuel filler hose from the bed. Just to be extra cautious, I used a jack to lift the bed and make sure nothing was in the way of removing the bed off the truck. I did this before lifting it up with a buddy of mine. So once I saw everything was disconnected and nothing would be caught, I just called over a friend and helped me lift the bed off of the truck. Now I expected us to be able to carry it to the backyard, but it was a lot more awkward to hold. Not so much the weight of it, but just really awkward to hold it. So I had to put it down running at a dolly. Luckily, I didn't scratch or damage the bed. Then we put it on the dolly and we wheeled it to the backyard. While the bed was off, I took advantage and changed the leaf spring hangers, the shackles, and the leaf springs. The frame had surface rust. I just cleaned it up, sprayed it with black paint. I changed the fuel filler hose because it was cracked, and the rear shocks because they looked like they needed to be replaced. Well, I hope this helps someone out there. I know I've been helped by YouTube videos many times when working on cars. So take care, thanks for watching, and be good.